right? When we face a problem, now it's like we have to top it and ice it with other problems we've had to overcome or had to face or had to invest in or put money into. It's like we start coming up with all this evidence and all these examples of all the other problems that we have. All right. Thank you for joining me for a special edition of Mindset Mastery. You might have noticed that I didn't get to do this on Monday as I typically do. And, you know, a little insight to that is many years ago, I changed it from Mindset Monday to Mindset Mastery, just in case something like this happens, right? We got to have contingent plans just in case life throws you a wrench, right? Life throws you, an obstacle that it's not so easy to overcome, or it just takes more time than you think it's going to take to resolve. And I've been in that situation here in the last, 72 hours or so. It probably a little longer than that. I just didn't know. You know, sometimes the problems that we're going to have to face and overcome are weeks in the making. And there's clues that are given to you. There's things that are happening that don't make sense, but yet we don't know that a bigger problem is about to come your way. And that's the type of a situation that we ran into. And I named this Mindset Mastery. It happens, right? And I want to keep this rated G, not PG, because now it seems like PG is the old rated R, right? So I'm keeping it G, all right? And it happens. In life, things will happen. And that's exactly where we were, like literally. And let me explain. We started noticing a problem here in the last about a week ago. It was on Saturday. I went into the laundry room, and where my dogs sleep, we have like these little fancy beds for our dogs, right? It's like a big puffy pillow, and we got two of them. And I noticed that on one of them there was moisture on his bed, and I thought that was odd. So I started inspecting everything around the laundry room. I thought it was the sink, that the sink was leaking, and I couldn't find anything, and I was searching to see if it was active, and no, everything was dry. The drywall was dry. The washer wasn't leaking, and I go outside to see if somehow water got into the home, and no, everything seemed fine. So I just disregarded it, right? That there's the clue, but we disregard the small clues. And then Sunday evening, I was in the bathroom and I used the restroom and I flushed the toilet, and the shower made like this gurgling sound. And I was like, that's so strange, right? I flushed the toilet and the shower made a gurgling sound. And what was funny about that, I thought it was the dogs, because they were in the office. And I figured, wait, did they make that gurgling sound? So I flushed it again. And the gurgling sound happens again. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I still thought it was the dogs. And then finally I flushed it a third time. And then I actually hear and see like something not right with the shower. But nothing was coming out. Everything was okay. But by that time, my toilet started filling up. Now, the good thing about it was there was nothing in it. It was just clear water, and it was just all the way up. So then I thought that was, strange, right? And then I go into the kitchen, and Carla tells me that the dishwasher has water all in it. And then my daughters tell me, hey, Dad, like there was some water coming back up from the sink as well. So I didn't think much of it. So all I did was ask Carla for the plunger, and I figured I was going to go do this. So I'm there in the office toilet, and I'm plunging away. I'm literally plunging away, right? And I'm thinking, this plunger is not commercial grade. It's not heavy duty because it's not doing the job, right? It's hard to get that suction in. So I walk out, and Carla says, well, how'd it go? Did you fix the toilet? And I said, no. So Carla, of course, right? She thinks she knows how to do this. She grabs the plunger from me, and she disappears for about 5 minutes. She comes back a little later, all frazzled, sweating up a storm. And I said, did you get it fixed? She said, no, I did not. No, I did not, right? And I always fix it. I don't know what's going on. So by then I'm already on Amazon, and I'm typing in like literally heavy duty plunger, right? And I'm getting it next day delivery. So I figured, okay, tomorrow by the 10 a.m. delivery, I'll take care of this problem. No big deal. Well, the next day, Carla wakes up super early. And she even told this story yesterday at her lecture. And for those of you that missed Carla's lecture yesterday, it was one for the books. Oh my gosh, it was very inspirational. It hit home in so many ways. And tell you what, if you're on here today and if you send me a text, I will send you a link to that lecture. It's absolutely amazing. I see Daniel, you were there, and I think you can agree to that. And also Isaiah, you were there. And there's a few other people there, but it was simply amazing. So she had her own side of the story, right? Where she felt like uneasy. She wakes up extra early. She was up at 3:30 in the morning. She didn't know why exactly, right? But she said she felt the nudge, right? The nudge. And it just didn't let her sleep. So she just woke up and she's walking around doing her thing. And she noticed that there was water in the office bathroom. And she didn't think anything of it. So her solution is, well, I just got to clean this up. So she figured that now the shower is plugged up, and she's just grabbing towels, right? That's all we can do, until she realized, well, that the water wasn't necessarily clear, right? It was now, and again, it's probably 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I can see how she didn't process it right away, but it was literal sewage now, right? She thought it was like dirt, okay, in the shower, okay? And if you know Carla, you know she is particularly clean. There should be no reason why there's dirt in the shower, right? And it was raining, I think it was a couple of days before, so she thought it just had something to do with that, because we've had an issue with water in the house, okay? And it was dirty water because obviously when it comes from the outside and it goes into your home, it's dirty. If you put a white towel to it, it's going to be dirty. So I think she was correlating it to that. And if you don't recall that story, let me go ahead and explain that. So when we first moved in, within the first few weeks, we had this massive storm. And somehow all my doors weren't sealed properly. And my backyard started flooding where it started getting into the home. We used all our brand new sheets, all our brand new covers, every blanket we could get, and we just started, soaking it all up. And we spent most of the night just trying to clean it all up. The thing I was grateful for is that we didn't leave out of town until the following week. I could only imagine if we weren't there, right? So anyway, so she must have been under that same impression, right? So she starts grabbing towels until I walk in, and what I didn't know is that every time I was flushing the toilet in the master bedroom, sewage was coming out of the shower. Okay, it's actual crap, right? And this is something that's been happening here for at least a week, because our front and backyards are being remodeled. Like, we broke down our entire front and backyards. It is just being demoed from top to bottom. Well, it turns out last week. So I'm thinking it's about 7 days, okay, before we actually knew the problem. They used a tractor and it broke one of our pipes. It broke one of our pipes, one of our drainage pipes. And when it broke, it started sucking up a lot of the landscaping. So there's a lot of rocks and dirt that started going in there. So this process has been happening now for like 5, 6, 7 days, where it was slowly but surely getting backed up. Every time we flushed, it backed up. More and more and more until that Sunday evening, right? And then the following Monday morning. So I'm walking in and I'm like looking at it. I'm like, Carla, you know what that is, right? She's like, what? And then she like realized right away. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in the shower. I'm barefoot in the shower. It's all over my feet. It's all over my hands. And she had no idea. So immediately she starts getting grossed out, right? But that didn't stop her from fixing the problem. So I said, okay, cool, no problem. And listen, guys, I was already out the door going to the gym. I just happened to say, hey, Carla, I'm leaving. And she yelled something from the office, and I happened to walk back there. If I didn't, I would have just left like I typically do, right? And so I just happened to check on her, and she's in the shower. So she's calm and collected. And that was before I told her what it was, right? But even after, her demeanor was on point. She was still taking action. I said, okay, I'm going to call the plumber. Okay, I'm trying to resolve this, but at the same time, I'm feeling a little like disturbed. by the fact that it's taking up my time. I need to be at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? Even though this is all going down, like I'm feeling entitled that I should be at the gym right now, and that I'm spending my time now trying to look for a plumber as Carla's cleaning this up, right? I don't even, take Carla's feelings and what she's doing into consideration, where she's actually in the water full of sewage, right? To put it bluntly. And I'm like, I'm feeling this entitlement. I'm like, God dang it. Almost trying to somehow blame her, or I don't know, something. I don't know what was going on in my mind, but it's kind of like those times, right? Where we have a plan, like you're planning to go to sleep early, and then your kids wake you up because they're doing their thing, and you're so upset with them because you decided to go to bed early. And it's like, hey, that's just part of what happens, right? So in this case, I start calling some people, and I called two plumbing companies, and I'm just trying to get someone in there as soon as possible. And of course, it's an emergency call. So whenever you call the plumber and then you put at the front of the line, it's going to come with a large cost, right? So I figured, okay, Carla's cleaning it up, no big deal. She said, okay, you go ahead and go to the gym. I'm almost done here. So she's using more of our covers, more of our sheets, anything that can soak up anything, right? It was being used. So we use comforters, we use covers, we use towels. I mean, we pretty much emptied out all our cabinets. For the second time, like I said, when it happened with the flood, we did the same thing. And, part of me, whenever something happens, right? Whenever something happens and you're in this place of just being disturbed and start thinking about the cost and start thinking about what you have to go through and it wasn't planned, right? That's the first thing. It's like, why did it have to happen now? That's the first thing we ask ourselves when we face a problem. It's like, why did it have to happen now? This is just on top of this other thing that just occurred. And then we start thinking about our time or the money that we have to spend to solve the problem, or how we have to get involved, and it's just not the right time. But in essence, that's exactly what a problem is to appear when it's not the right timing. Otherwise, it would be a plan, right? But a problem is, an obstacle is an unforeseen challenge. But yet we ask ourselves the same stupid rhetorical question. So there I was, why now, right? Why in the morning? Why couldn't it happen later? It's like, dude, come on. It doesn't matter when it happened. It happens, right? Shit happens. And so now I'm calling, and then as I'm calling, I'm thinking, damn, how much is this going to cost? And then I start thinking about all the other challenges we face with the house. And that's the crazy part about the human brain, right? When we face a problem, now it's like we have to top it and ice it with other problems we've had to overcome or had to face or had to invest in or put money into. It's like we start coming up with all this evidence and all these examples of all the other problems that we have in front of us or have overcome. So now I'm thinking about the insect infestation that we had at the house when we first moved in, where we were crawling with spiders and roaches and thousands of crickets, right? They were up our walls and through our house, and I'm thinking about that. So now I'm getting more and more negative about the whole situation. And then I start thinking about the thousands of dollars I spent on trying to, control the pigeon issue that I had, right? Not only the money invested, but the mental space that it took upon me, right? I was constantly thinking about those pigeons. I felt they were laughing at me. I felt they were just like, being spiteful of me, right? And I'm there every day trying to shoot them with these gel guns. And finally found a solution where we got someone out here, a professional. But before that, we spent money trying to, barricade all the coves and just all their feeding spots. And then I start thinking about the roof rat problem, right? I hear little crawling animals. I feel like I'm living in the forest somewhere. Okay, this is the first time I've ever had to face this kind of stuff. And yes, we also had to face these roof rats. In the area I live, I guess they're a problem. So now I have to pay to get them exterminated, which is like a 5-day process, plus pay to get all the entry areas, taken care of. And that costs money. So now, again, I'm thinking financially all this money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not hurting me financially. I'm not in debt because of all this, but I start making an issue of it, right? And then I go all the way back to when the gophers chewed up my irrigation lines and it flooded my yard. And it's a few $1,000s there, right? Trying to mitigate this gopher issue. So I'm now becoming more negative. Now, mind you, Carla and I made the decision to remodel our front and backyard. It's a heavy investment, but we got great designers, some of the best designers in the state. We got the best contractor, best materials. Like, we went all out on this thing. All right? But all I can think about is the negative aspects. Not that I have like 10 guys at my house on a consistent basis working towards my dream. I'm thinking negative because a little crap happens to show up and all of a sudden my vision and my motivation is taken from me. Right? So I start thinking about the gophers. I start thinking about the unexpected costs during the interior remodel. And again, one of the best designers in the state did an amazing job. And I'm forgetting about the experience to even get there and what it took to get there. My resiliency, my ability to overcome obstacles. But that's what happens to us. One little thing starts morphing into a bigger thing. Before you know, it's like it drains you. You don't want to do anything. Everything that you had planned all of a sudden goes on the back burner. So I'm forgetting about the experience that I had where my house was fully furnished before I even moved in. All I had to do was bring my clothes. I'm forgetting about that. And instead of that, I'm thinking about the unexpected cost of 5 brand new AC units right before we move in that we had to replace. And again, I'm not struggling financially, but somehow I want to wallow in this crap, right? I want to wallow. I want to be that person that just sits there in the shower and continues to flush the toilet so more of that comes out, and I want to wallow in it. And that's what we tell ourselves every time we face an obstacle and are just sitting there thinking about the cost, sitting there thinking about why it's happening. Right? We're starting to wallow. We're flushing the toilet so more of that can come out. And it doesn't stop there, right? And I'm trying to catch myself, trying to have this good demeanor now. And this is all playing out in my mind, right? And Carla, man, she's a soldier, and it took a literal form as well, because she's the one who always does the cleanup. It seems like I make the mess, right? And she does the cleanup. The financial mess I caused for my family, she was there, like crawling through it, getting things done, right? Reminds me of like the Shawshank Redemption. You guys remember that movie, the Shawshank Redemption? And I'm going to go ahead and bring some examples of that because, it's about a greater purpose. It's about knowing that life's going to throw these challenges in front of us, and it's our job just to continue to move forward. And, the Shawshank Redemption there's this character, Andy Dufresne, and, he was wrongly convicted, right, of killing his cheating wife and her lover. So he was wrongly convicted of murdering them. And throughout the entire story, like, there was just so much done to him. He faced his fair share of traumas and obstacles. He was convicted of murder. He lost his family. And in prison, he was subjected to beatings and sexual assault. This dude, faced every hardship you can think of. Okay? He was forced to betray the government by his warden. And he was constantly being sexually assaulted. But one thing that I noticed about this character, all right, other men in the prison, is that he was always looking for the how to make things just better. He always held down to this hope. And every time he was being beat or attempted to be assaulted, he would fight them off, regardless of how bad the beatings got. To a point where he was taken to the hospital multiple times, but as soon as he got out and they tried to assault him again, he was there fighting. That's what I love about his character. It's like he never lost hope. He always tried to make the best out of a situation. But he also knew that, with relief, with a vision, with purpose, it's going to take a while. And sometimes we have to face these hardships, these beatings, the crap in life, right? And, he found a way to escape the prison. The walls were old, and they were starting to chip away. So he starts chipping at this wall and makes a hole through this wall. Okay, and it took him about 10 years. And so every day he would just chip at this wall, doing the reps, right? Doing the things, regardless of everything that's happening. And just imagine how hard it is to give up hope. Just imagine how hard it is to just give in. And this guy was fighting every day for his life, fighting every day for his dignity, right? And he's being abused and taken advantage of. And every day he's chipping at this wall, rep. And every day he's walking out with a pocket full of debris and just tossing it in the yard. 10 years of this stuff. Talk about just maintaining to a purpose, right? So he finally digs enough to get into the sewer system. And the night of his escape, he gets to this sewer pipe, and it's about, it seemed like about 4 feet round. And it was raining that night. There's a thunderstorm, and he grabs this big rock. He had this rock ready, right? And every time the thunder would sound, he would beat the pipe until he made a hole in it, right? So every time it would thunder, he would beat it. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he made a hole, all this sewage comes out. It's like a 4-foot wall of sewage comes out. So it gets all over him. And, and the reason that reminded us is because when I called the plumbers, they had to look for the problem. They had to fix the problem. So part of that was trying to find the pipes of the drainage pipes. And that was a challenge. I couldn't find them. Since I moved in, I couldn't find them. And because they've been clearing stuff out, we found one of them. And then we searched another foot from that, and we found the second one, when we have a total of 4 of them. So the plumber's initial response to me was like, here, let me give you an estimate of what this is going to cost. And again, when you call on an emergency, guess who has the upper hand? Especially when we're dealing with like feces, right? When we're dealing with sewage, odds are the client's going to pay. It's not the time to ask for a second bid or to ask for someone else. So I'm thinking, holy cow, like that's already there. And then he's giving me like the worst case scenario. He's giving me as like, well, if a pipe is broken in there and this happens, we're looking in the tens of thousands. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, dude. Like, okay, let's just take it a step at a time here. All right, let's just move forward, okay, with your initial bid in a couple $1,000s, right? And hopefully that addresses the problem, that addresses the issue. So they find the pipe, and we find the second one. So now that solved my problem. Now I know exactly where my pipes are. So that's a good thing, right? That's a silver lining. And just like Andy Dufresne, when he opened that up, when they opened up the cap from the pipe, guess what comes out? Now it wasn't 6 feet of that, but I'm thinking to myself, like, how can I even be complaining? These guys are taking care of my problem. I'm so grateful to have the finances where it's not really a big deal. I'm making it a big deal in my mind. I'm trying to blame somebody, like who plugged up this toilet, right? I'm not saying it verbally, but I'm thinking it. It's like, oh, was it, my daughters, did they flush something down? Was it Carla? Like, why did this even happen, right? But these guys are cleaning up this mess. Like, who has it worse here? I'm not trying to feel bad for them. They chose that profession. They're really good at it. But just like Andy Dufresne, when he busted that pipe, when they opened that pipe, guess what comes out, right? Right into my yard. Now, it wasn't at that level of the movie, but it just started shifting my mind. Like, it's like, I just have to get through this. It's not a big deal. And listen, guys, like one of the things that I'm proud of is the way Carla and I handled it, the whole situation. Like, even though I was thinking these thoughts, my actions were still in alignment with being poised with making decisions and moving forward. So back to the story, back to the movie. Andy Dufresne is busting this up, and he has to crawl through this stuff, okay? He has to crawl through the sewer line. And I'm thinking the whole time I'm watching, it's like, what about if the sewer line goes from 3 feet or 4 feet wide to like 1 foot? What's going to happen then, right? But he wasn't even thinking that. He had a purpose. He wanted his freedom from all the negativity. He wanted to break the shackles of this depressive state that he's been in for 10 years, right? The system, all the hardened criminals, the negativity. His purpose was just to rise above. So he's crawling through this stuff. And when I say crawling, he's not crawling on his hands and knees. He's on his belly. 500 yards, right? Nearly half a mile. And of course, it's a fictional story, but stay with me here. So he's crawling through this stuff. So he can't even get on his knees. He's throwing up. Imagine the foulness of that smell, right? Years of it piled up and getting caked on that pipe. He's crawling through it. He just didn't break the pipe and get disgusted once it got on him. Oh, well, this is as far as I'm taking it. He's had too many reps. He's envisioned it too clearly on his mind. He had the end game in mind. He was going to make things happen, regardless of the obstacles, regardless what came his way. And he wasn't going to just sit there and wallow in it. So he's there crawling and crawling through it. 500 yards, I can only imagine how many hours that took. Think about that. 5 football fields, how long will it take you to do that? His arms are probably bleeding, right? Trying to drag himself through that. And he stays the course. Just like he stayed the course chipping away at that wall for 10 years. It's just when the vision is so big and when you count your blessings, it makes the whole thing worth it. And his blessings were he was alive. He was making things better even in his situation. He was bringing value to the world. He was building value to his inmates by building a library, putting opera music, just being that person with reason. And the whole environment improved because of his leadership. And so he's crawling through this, and he finally gets out on the other side, and it's raining, and he's taking off his clothes, and he's being washed of all that mess, all that sewage, all that feces. And all he could think about was the success. He's not thinking, what did I just go through? He's not sitting there. He says, I've just been moving through it. Moving through it. When deals fall through, you move through it. When issues occur, you move through it. When deals don't pan out, you move through it. And that's what he was doing. He was just moving through it. And he felt so much satisfaction as the water's pouring on his face. He's throwing up his arms in the air and he's looking up to the sky like saying, thank you, Lord. Thank you. I never lost faith in you. Because you can't lose faith when you do the work. You can't lose faith when you condition yourself to win. That the problem that you're facing is just another thing you have to overcome because you're asking for bigger things. So of course, it's going to come with its fair share of obstacles you have to go overcome. Its fair share of crap, right? That you have to overcome. Wallowing in that place is taking your focus, is a distraction from what you're supposed to create. I had it all planned out. That didn't mean I was going to put it, just throw it all away. It was a great 2.5, 3 weeks. We had our mid-year review, 3 mid-year reviews. It was impactful. There was this synergy in this office. We had a powerful training yesterday. Isaiah killed it. We're getting so many new escrows, a surge of new escrows in a declining market. We're obtaining more and more market share. We're nearly up to 300 agents. I'm asking for big things. I better be able to handle this shit. And that's the way we got to look at it. It's coming your way because you're asking for bigger things. And I'm like, okay. It's all hand in hand. For every win, there's an obstacle we have to overcome. And we had unbelievable trainings where the synergy in the office has never been higher. We're breaking records. Some of our top agents are breaking records or numbers they've never been able to produce before. I'm seeing veteran agents get re-engaged and getting that confidence and that certainty back about, the market. Everyone's fired up. There's an excitement. I have my 12-week target training tomorrow. Like, there's so much goodness. This is nothing. So the problem was solved. But during those times, it's like, what kind of mess can we create, right? We're already in a mess, a literal mess. But sitting and wallowing in that place only makes things worse. I could only imagine if I started blaming my family, started getting frustrated, right? Start thinking about all the cost that's going out there. Telling my daughters they can't spend here, they can't spend there, we can't go here, we can't go there because of all the stuff that we have to put into the house. No. The fact is, we took on another blessing. Like, things are coming together. Our dream front and back, our house is going to look so beautiful. It's already there. Your life is beautiful. The people in it are beautiful. But when you wallow in crap, you also impede that into your brain. You don't see the appreciation. Handle it. Don't wallow in it. Okay? Handle it. And I got to tell you, it's exactly what we needed, because it inspires a lot of appreciation. Like, it's nothing. I could have made it a big deal. Me a few years ago would have made it a big deal. But I've got too many reps under my belt. I just get through it. I've learned how to contain my emotions. And even though those thoughts are going to impede, it's a constant onslaught it's a constant war in your mind, right? It doesn't matter how far you get, that negativity will always impede. Your history just comes rushing in, like all those examples of all the things we had to overcome with the remodel now are at the forefront. Like, why? I already played that story. I already read that. I already, played that song. I'm tired of it. Why bring it up now? But that's where we get caught up. And listen, shit's going to happen. And I'm sorry for being so straightforward there, right? I'm trying not to cuss. And that was a good influence Carla had on me. But I think this constitutes a little bit more of a stress, right? Shit happens. And it's, how are you going to get through it? Because you have a choice. And there's only really two choices. You wallow in it, where it starts penetrating your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your actions. Or you have the faith that it's happening for a reason. And in this case, I think it was just for good storytelling. I don't know. Maybe I just needed to appreciate where I'm at. I have no clue. All I know is I just have to get through it. But I tell you, I have so much appreciation for the way Carla and I work together, for the way we're able to resolve, and just a deep appreciation that I just get it paid. It's just something else. No big deal. Stay the course. The training was on point yesterday. And I got to tell you, Isaiah, if you're watching this, a part of me wanted to blame you too. How does my issue at home want to blame you? Well, I need to come up with a contingency plan. And I try to call Isaiah, and he's in the gym, of course, putting in his deposits. And I start thinking, wow, I can't depend on him when he's one of the guys that I can fully depend on. And he delivered. He delivered for a coaching call with clients outside of the state in a massive way, right? And then he delivered yesterday as well. So it's easy to blame, but it's a greater responsibility to lead. So lead yourself and get through it. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Have a great day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.